Hi there, this is Jim the Keys bartender, coming to you from Key Largo. I'm here with Papa Joe. Hi, Papa Joe. Are you there?
Hey, how we doing?
You're breaking up a little.
I am here. We have a delay.
There we go. Well, it could be the weather. We're having a rainy day here. We've been having horrible internet connection. I don't know if it's your. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. My phone says full signal, but these days I don't mean no much.
Okay. Well, it just seems every time I'm ready to do a podcast, I got to clear my throat. And I know that's annoying. I apologize. But I don't do a lot of editing because I don't want to edit for content. And my fear is if I started, well, I guess if I learned how to edit, I could probably make it a higher quality show.
Who needs editing?
Yeah. Well, this past Monday, today's Tuesday, I think we mentioned that the governor allowed through pressure. There was a lot of pressure. This guy does fold under pressure a little here, which I don't know if it really matters. If he started opening up restaurants, why it's a big deal for barbershops and hair salons to open up, because food is as intimate an exchange as possible. But I have, since the day they've opened, I ventured out to look for a haircut. I don't know about you, but and it sounds like selfish. Selfish. I fear. The day of them opening the salons, I started looking around, and there, one of them, the one place I normally go, is not even open. So have you checked, or does Damon cut your hair?
There is a salon. I won't mention the name. They're open. It happens to be right near a place that I get coffee from.
Mm-hmm.
And that place has some pretty rigorous rules. You walk in, you're monitored to make sure you keep your place. You walk out another door, and there's a pickup. They don't want you just standing around waiting for your stuff, so you have to walk outside to a pickup location. So in the meantime,
you mean a coffee shop?
There is a hair salon there.
Oh, okay,
I do mean a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And the hair salon is doing something similar. You have to make an appointment. They keep the door locked, so while there's a client in the chair, no one can just walk in. And if you're early, or even if you're on time and they're not done with the client, they'll open the door and say, give us 10 minutes. When the person walks out, you can walk in. So they limit. There's no people waiting around, and everyone's wearing a mask.
I mean, if it's a big enough salon and you're 6 feet apart, why can't two people sit in a salon if they're 6 feet
Well,
apart?
it just so happens this place is a little crowded, so I think that's how they've chose to run it.
Okay.
Otherwise, I agree with you. If it's a very big salon and you can sit 6 feet from the next person, it's no different than being in a grocery store.
Well, I mean, I've been getting my hair cut at a barber shop, and I go between that. Down here, your beggars can't be choosers. They got salons where they cut your hair. You can make an appointment. You don't have to wait. And normally you don't wait any more than 15 minutes. You go to a barber shop, you can end up sitting there 45 minutes to an hour. Well, right now, that's all the barber shops I've gone to, it's by appointment only now. So if you're used to going to a barber shop. But there's one place I went. It's funny because it says call or text, and it doesn't post the number. Right? So we go and look up. I go and look up their number, which, you have a smartphone. You know where you are. You look it up. Okay, how hard is that? I can imagine some of these older guys that, they're going, what? How do I, what number do I know to call? Because they don't do this search. I mean, there's very few of those people left over, but there got to be some of them. So I find the number, I call the number, it's a message. I leave a message 2 days ago, and then yesterday, but I never get a call back. They never pick up, never call back. and then it says leave a text. Well, I tried doing a text, and I sent a text, and it says this number does not receive text. So it's a landline.
Great.
Yeah. So that was fun. So, and then the other one I used to go to, they moved, and they called, and I figure, well, he kept the same number, and it turns out he didn't keep the same number. There's no reason anymore. It wasn't, well, unless it wasn't his cell phone, to port the number to his cell phone number so he can get all the business. But the guy didn't port the number, so now you don't have a way of reaching him. And he opened up a new place, a smaller place. And let me see, there was a couple places. I called two other places. They never called back. And there was one place I normally go to, and it's near the Lover's Boutique, right? And I called it because it wasn't open. I was calling to see if they were going to be opening this weekend or next week and see if I can make an appointment. And I called up, and the lady answered the phone. And she said, no, they're not open. I said, when are you opening? She goes, next weekend. I said, okay, she has a Latin accent, a Mexican. I think she's Mexican or Cuban. And I go, well, what do you mean, Monday or next weekend? That's a weird time to be opening, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, right?
Right.
For the first time. And I didn't quite get it. And she goes, well, I had an accident. And I go like this. And I'm like, okay, well, I didn't want to bug her. And I go, okay. She goes, you understand? And I'm like, no, I don't understand. I didn't know if she meant next week or something like that. And she had an accident, so I didn't want to be busting her balls about it. So I just said, maybe I'll just go and, check. But the funny thing is some of these protesters were protesting that. And I was thinking about the dynamics of how that's happening. They shut down everything, March 20th? Right?
Yeah.
Everything was shut down.
Okay.
Around that weekend, March 20th, the weekend after St. Patrick's Day. And so today it was March the 10th or the 11th, right? The 11th, the Monday, that everything, no, May 11th. So that's more than a month and a half. So
right.
Everyone is off cycle, meaning everyone needed a haircut. Everyone, even women. 6 weeks they go to the salon and stuff like easy. Some women go every week, so they're way off. So the salons are screwed. You can't, if you're a guy and you get your hair cut in the salon, forget about it. But a barbershop, all these guys, there's guys that screwed up. Did I tell you I did a little, you were there, the research I did on Google, some of the biggest search items was how to cut your own hair.
Right, exactly.
So there's a lot of people that cut their own hair and they're probably not ready for it because they probably some of them went too short, I'm sure. So they're not going in. But all these other people that fucked up their hair or haven't had a haircut, they're all cramming in 6 weeks worth of haircuts, right? 6 weeks?
I would imagine so. The rule of thumb, I guess, would be if you've waited this long, what's another week?
Well, because people going back to work and stuff like that is probably one of the other reasons too. So you got all that.
Oh,
yeah.
If you can't,
you waited this long. Why wait? Why not? Yes, this is the way.
Yeah, and I think everyone. I don't care if you work in a bank, if you work on the top.
I feel compelled. I got my hair cut right before, right? It's been 6 weeks, and I'm all brambly and back, and I feel compelled to get a haircut. I had grown facial hair. I had a goatee fully. I shaved that yesterday. I'm clean shaven again. But I feel compelled. I think that you have 6 weeks. This is my theory. Okay, let's say for this week of haircuts, it's 300 to 400% of capacity. That's what. There's 3 times as many people trying to get a haircut this week.
Right.
Okay, easy, and they're restricted. So, but I think maybe they don't have any slow periods, so that'll be like they may be able to satisfy half of that. So next week it'll be 150%, right? And then, so for guys, how often do guys get their hair cut? Some go maybe every I think once a month.
That's about right, I think, once a month.
Once a month, sometimes a little longer. And so this week and halfway through next week, it's going to be busy as fuck. And then...
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's rushing in there to get it done.
So all these guys are going to be on the same cycle. The guys, not the girls. Like for girls, it doesn't really matter because they got people that go in every week, right? People that do every 2 weeks, one do it every 3 months. Women can grow their hair long. Some, there's all sorts of things with women, right?
Right. So what you're saying is because the guys are going to be all rushing in there in a short period of time, business is going to taper back off.
It's going to be so cyclical for the next 6 months.
That could be true.
It's going to space out. It's going to space out eventually, just a normal variance in swing. But it's going to be the first 2 months is going to be so cyclical. So right now I just got it. It's synced up almost like. Did you ever that? And this is misogynistic, and I realize it's false, but it's called the McClintock effect, named after a psychologist named Martha McClintock, who did a study in 1971 on women's menstrual cycles. Now her study was that women, when they're in close proximity to each other for a sustained amount of time, that their menstrual cycles can go into sync. Right? Now this
really,
yeah, and that was, and people have used it. He cited it as a fact, and it's actually there's been studies disproving it. It was finally in like 2013 they disproved the fact that the women's menstrual cycles, like it's a show in the early 20th century where minstrel show. No, menstrual cycle.
They use red face.
Yeah. But guys are now synced up with they're synced up. So it's right now it's the 10th of May. So it's going to be the 10th of June, and then right around July 4th, all the way through. So I'm wagering that the best time to get a haircut will be the week before Memorial Day, right now. Right, and I realize being I'm not that egotistical. I realize it's my issue getting a haircut. I'm sure people aren't freaking out, but I like to have my haircut because that's neater. And supposedly I don't want to say, but we're going to, in a very short time, the restaurant I'm working in will be opening up, and I want to be ready for that. So, did you try? Now, you didn't mention anything. You said you mentioned your coffee and stuff. Where do you get your haircut? You wear your hair short. Where do you get your haircut? Don't tell me where you get your haircut. Do you go to someone's house?
I'm not going to tell you.
Do you get your?
But
do you
that
go
last
to
place
house?
No. The last place you mentioned that you went is normally where I go. That young Hispanic lady. If I don't go there, see, it's easy for me. If I'm in a spot where I need to get my hair cut, and I don't want to have to go there, and plus I'm cheap, so if there's an excuse not to spend money, I'll have my partner get the clippers because my hair is easy. It's a 1.5 clipper job all around my head, so it's done. It's just buzz my head and bada boom boom. I didn't mean it that way, but with the clippers on the top of my cabeza, and it's a simple process of shaving the head, and I'm done. Little trim here and there. So to me, it's and of course I'm retired, and when I work, it's part time. It's cyclical. It's 4 months here and it's 3 months there during the year, and so I'm never under that crunch of having, like I was when I was a police officer. When I was a police officer, I was getting a haircut every 2 weeks. Like you, I didn't want to face the public. Anyone in uniform should at least care about not having a shaggy head of hair. So I was much more conscious about it then, not so much now. And it's much easier.
Have you seen any interesting haircuts since then? I just got a message as we were speaking from the oh my God, I have an appointment.
Is your hair salon?
Yeah, no, the woman that cut my hair. Yes, I can come in.
Oh, well, there you go. Talk about.
Wow, I'm
Kismet.
just in it. I just got it. Oh, thank you, Darla. Tomorrow at 11:30.
There you go.
Oh,
see?
Man, I'm getting it.
Don't have to worry about it no more.
Well, I wasn't.
Oh, my
I
goodness.
was worried. You know that? I'll just go. Wow, that's.
But I have seen some interesting haircuts, though. I mean, and usually I've seen interesting hair as a lack of haircut. There's been some shaggy heads out there, and then of course when people are out of work, they don't necessarily shave every day. So I think overall people are kind of scruffy, and that's fine. I mean,
oh my God, I think I got the wrong woman. Oh, geez, it doesn't look like the same person.
You sure it's not your proctologist?
Oh, that's her. She looks older in this picture. Wait, is that her? Oh, that's her. Okay, good. Oh, God. I was going to go. I wasn't saying that I'm not a prude or anything about this stuff. Or what do you call it? A dilettante. That would be a dilettante. But this woman cut my hair great. So I've ever, you've gotten bad haircuts before, right?
Oh, for sure.
I went to this guy. I mentioned this on a previous podcast. He was a assistant chef at the restaurant I worked at, and then all of a sudden I go to Manny's, right? You know Manny's?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and he's there, and this is a couple of years ago. He's not there anymore, and I get the worst haircut I've gotten since I was like. Christ. Oh, well, a couple years, and when I was very young, when the guy actually nicked my ear, which is probably my fault.
Yeah, that always hurts.
And this guy, I go like this. I said, "Holy shit, man! I'm paying. I used to go. Oh, in the '90s, I used to go to a barber school for haircuts. Holy shit!"
You never know what you're going to get.
I must have been very cocky. It was right. I was single. I was meeting girls and stuff. And I was getting my hair cut at a barber school. I'd go out at night and spend $60 in booze back in the 90s, which is a lot of money. A lot of money back then. And 30. And I'm going to a barber school to get my hair cut for $5 haircut. I couldn't spend $10. $10. And I'm going like this. I go, what the hell? Why the hell was I so cheap? Especially if I knew then what I knew now, I would have. Like now is the time for me to get a $5 haircut.
Exactly.
I'm done. I'm taken now. I would have gone back, and there was a place I went. I used to go to this other place. There were some good-looking girls worked there. I used to go there to get my hair cut. I used to go there for a little trim, let's say. And I dated a couple girls that did that. But, I always thought if a girl liked you, she'd cut your hair well. And but this guy butchered my hair. And at the barber schools, yeah, of course they're going to do it. They let you go up there and say, well, what are you going to do? It's $5, And like, what'd you expect? Oh, of course, I expected I went to. I expect there to be some kind of quality control. You know, I didn't expect.
Yeah,
them
maybe
to,
not, huh?
Yeah, I didn't expect them to give me the Hitler style. Yeah. Okay. You ever read Reddit, Joe? Reddit,
No.
Reddit.
No, I've heard of it. I don't go on there and read.
Yeah. Well, people go.
I've seen articles. I've seen articles in various places from Reddit. But go ahead.
This is awesome. This was one. It was well. First of all, the person that posted on Reddit, they posted. Oh, it's funny. They almost got it perfect. They screwed up because their phone has. It shows a screenshot, right? And their phone has 10% of their battery power left, right? And
Okay.
the posting is at 1:11 a.m. 1:11, and I can see they tried to time it probably 11% and 1:11 a.m. It would have been 11 all the way across, but I just noticed that. I just noticed that right now. Okay, so this one's called Waffle House. Okay, my boyfriend who's 29 years old. My boyfriend who's 29 years old, and I'm 29 years old, keeps getting into fights with a cook at Waffle House. That's how it starts out. And okay, it's going to be a little long, but it's well worth it, Joe. It's well worth it. I'm going to hear you say okay. I want to hear you say okay every so often because sometimes you get cut off by the internet, by my shitty connection. And
no, keep going.
Okay. My boyfriend and I have been together for 3 years. We met and started dating when we were both in graduate school, but I dropped out to go back to college to pursue a different career. I assume she meant go back for my bachelor's in a different career line. We are
probably.
both finished now and live together, making a fairly nice combined income. I think just from that nuance of the whole thing, why did she have to describe that they were in graduate school and then she decided to go back to school for a different line, which after pursuing another bachelor's degree, I thought that made it more ring true, the story ring true. Because the rest of the story, oh my God. Okay. Our income is relevant because we could afford to eat somewhere nice when we're out and about, but he always wants breakfast food. When he was a child, his dad couldn't stand eating breakfast-type food in the afternoon or evenings. So his mom would make him waffles / pancakes, eggs, and bacon in the evening whenever his dad was busy or out of town. It's a wonderful and safe memory for him. And when he goes to his happy place, in quotation marks, happy place, he says that's where he always likes to go. Okay, I don't know what that. So my boyfriend is an incredibly nice and caring person. He's emotionally tuned in to everyone and recognizes arising issues a long time before they occur.
Right.
Okay. He loves animals. He is kind and gentle with every bug, bird, and pet that he comes across. He almost always willing to turn the other cheek in social situations where someone tries to insult him or get aggressive towards him, and usually winds up diffusing. I think they spell diffusing the wrong way, like diffusing a bomb. They didn't spell it DEF. Okay, the situation, having a productive discussion about whatever the issue was, except at the Waffle House. Okay. Anytime we're out, he wants to go to the same goddamn Waffle House and get breakfast food. And remember that what I said, the same goddamn Waffle House, okay? Because this will play into the comments. Okay. I'm not a big eater, so I used to not really care. I would just drink coffee and read my book while he enjoyed his food. Read my book while he enjoys his food? Wouldn't she fucking be talking to him just while he's eating? She's reading a book while he's eating? You can't have a discussion while you're eating? Especially breakfast.
That's weird.
Yeah. Okay. But that became impossible once he and this one cook started chirping at each other every time we went there. Okay. The boyfriend complained about his eggs one time because he likes them a little runny and they were served hard. The cook responded by giving him scrambled eggs. When he brought it up again, the cook served him 2 hard-boiled eggs. I think it was just part of the cook's stick. It was kind of funny, by the way, but my boyfriend wasn't able to laugh at it. When we left, he was in kind of a bad mood, but he didn't really talk about it. Okay. The next week we were out getting some shopping done, and he wanted to go to Waffle House again. I suggested that we try a different place, or at least a different Waffle House location, but he only wanted the same Waffle House. We went in and sat down, and once again, the same cook served his eggs wrong. My boyfriend sort of snapped at him that he wasn't interested in messing around and just wanted the correct eggs. The cook then served him a piece of toast with a hole cut out in the middle with a fried egg in it. My boyfriend got really mad and threw the egg toast at the cook, which made the cook come out from behind the bar and throw it back at him. You know how Waffle House is. It has that long bar, and there's no, their cooking takes place behind the counter. And, yeah, so he came out from behind the bar and threw it back at him. They ended up sort of wrestling, fighting, until my boyfriend was like, "This is bullshit," and walked out. Nobody got hurt, but the few other people in there were watching and laughing a bit. This is the crazy part, : my boyfriend keeps going back and ordering eggs and getting into fistfights with the same cook. Yeah, it's almost a ritual at this point. My boyfriend orders runny eggs. The cook serves him some other version of eggs, and then they beat the shit out of each other. I quit going with him after the second fight, but he kept going by himself. They're like Peter and the giant chicken from the Family Guy. It's the weirdest thing. They have physically fought like 6 or 7 times over this. Okay, listen to this. I tried to talk to him about it a few times, but he keeps saying it's a matter of principle. I've told him to talk to the manager or something like that, but he just waves me off. Apparently that cook hasn't yet made him the correct runny eggs, but he spends a week learning new ways of preparing eggs to piss off my boyfriend. The thing is, we're getting married this summer. This is great. He accepted a job in a new city, and it'll be easy for me to find work after the wedding. I don't know how that. What? So we'll be moving away from his sworn enemy, Waffle House guy. He hasn't been out since quarantine started, but it wouldn't surprise me if that first place he goes to when restaurants open up for sitting customers. That's the first place he goes to when it opens up. But my main worry is this strange vindictive side of him I've never seen before that leads him to fight the same guy every week. The violence itself is an issue for me, but the obsession over it almost bothers me more. Okay, now she winds up. Should I be worried about this side of him will come up later in our marriage? How do I get him to open up about this? Is this type of obsession a choice, or is it indicative of something deeper? And that's the way it ended. Okay? Now, there's a whole bunch of things with that story so here are some of the comments. And the comments were as fucking good as the whole story. Okay, one guy says, everyone involved in this story is a psychopath. I'd suggest that you invite the cook to the wedding and the honeymoon. If 2 men fight, there's another one. If 2 men fight once, it's a 50-50 chance they'll become best friends. If they fight 5 or 6 times, they're best friends, and they admire each other's warrior spirit. So, yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. This is a good one. Clearly, he should be marrying the cook. That kind of passion is inescapable. Okay, this is one. This is me. I would totally go to that Waffle House. Okay, I wrote that in there. Yeah, no, this story is very believable. Clearly, you don't know the Waffle House. I love it. Okay, now this person suggests buy the Waffle House, cook his eggs, and then right after make passionate love on one of the tables. This person proposes that the cook is his father, and he's fighting with the fact that dad is still not letting him eat breakfast for lunch and dinner. Some dude writes, he goes, the cook should cater the wedding. Okay, now I like this guy here because he, this level of naggy, hyper-observant woman, the would-be psychologist types are the worst. He does everything right. Then he gets blasted for having an arch enemy. Superman would be very disappointed. And then this other person writes, you're supposed to fight at the Waffle House. Another guy, very supportive. Girls always have to overthink every little thing. Oh, I like this one. A woman writes this. He seems too good for you. You should leave him. And this woman writes,
oh, man.
All I could say, girl, make sure you make his eggs right.
Yeah. Can you?
Nah. It says, nah, this next one. Nah, your boyfriend is a human Seinfeld episode.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, there was 500 comments or something like that about it. But it reminded me that guy over a space of weeks or months, he's been fighting this guy. There was a are you a Star Trek fan, original Star Trek fan?
Oh, yeah.
There was an episode where these two entities show up on the Enterprise, and they're both similar. They're the opposite of each other, and they're destined to fight each other throughout eternity.
Oh, I remember that one.
Remember that? And they show them in that, the real bad late 1960s special effect. You see them in a negative picture thing wrestling each other outside the view screen of the Star Trek, and then this is fucking what they do for the rest of eternity. You know?
Yeah, it's almost like a Greek tragedy.
Yeah. So if this is made up, this person is a comedy genius, right? And it seems like they may have thrown in some of the facts about themselves, and then walking it back with, should I be worried of this behavior of it, to open up about it? Should I find out about it? Is this indicative of something deeper? And, a couple of these, the less funny ones goes, these guys are gay and they're just hot for each other and they're getting in fights. Oh, there was a couple, I made a Fight Club reference. You know Fight Club, right?
Yeah.
And I thought I made it. It was hundreds of comments, and I thought I was a smart enough to mention Fight Club. And then I'm doing reading to get this these comments. And after I made the comment, I look in there. I said the first rule. Hey, you screwed the first rule. Fight Club. There is no Fight Club.
Yeah.
And some guy did it already. Fucking, it's always a thing.
Yeah, but comment.
Unless you're like the number 2 person to comment and stuff like that, you can never be sure and stuff like that. But
no,
there's like 500 people. But read it is the best place for it. Some of them. There's a story about a guy, and this one was I don't know if I read on Reddit. Yeah, I think it was on Reddit. He was dating this girl, and he said the girl wouldn't see her. And I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm going to paraphrase it. He was dating this girl, and a whole bunch of times she would go off on her own. He'd see her like one day every other week, right? Or 2 days, sometimes a couple days together. And then he finds out he's calling her one time. And when he calls her, one time another guy picks up. And he says, and the guy says, who are you calling? He said, well, I'm calling my girlfriend. Who are you? He says, this is my girlfriend. We've been going out for 4 months. And the guy says, I've been going out with her 7 months. Right? And they start talking to each other and stuff like that. And the guy says, well, listen, I can prove it's my girlfriend here. He showed a picture of her Facebook page. He goes, that's the girl I'm dating. And he goes, but that's not her Facebook page. Right? She created, okay, this is the story. She created 2 dummy or not 2 dummy, they're each real, but one incorporates one boyfriend, the other incorporates another boyfriend with different friends, right?
Oh my
weird.
God.
You know, I don't know how the hell you do it, because, you know, you only have a certain amount of friends, and you have girls that you'd have to keep all your girlfriends separate too, right? I think it. I mean,
Yeah,
so what they did is these guys met over a cup of coffee. Guy was angry in the beginning, but then they decided to confront her, and they confronted her. And when they confronted her, she's got a little pissed off, and then she went into the opposite room, took the guy's PlayStation and threw it through his big screen television. And they threatened to call the cops and all that stuff. They wouldn't let her go. They forced her to explain herself. First, you know, well, that's when she got angry, and then eventually she admits she has 2 other boyfriends. Right?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So what happens is these guys go and get on there, and they do a little sleuthing, and they uncover the other boyfriends of Facebook's pages with her name, which I think is kind of that's when I thought it was kind of ridiculous right there. That was kind of impossible. And then they, you know, sent the video. One guy videoed her going apeshit in the house, explaining she had said all men are misogynists, they're pigs, they're rapists, and all that stuff. And they posted it on her first Facebook pages, right? And on the other boyfriend's Facebook pages. And supposedly and they contacted the other boyfriends, and supposedly the other boyfriends broke up with her, right? But you know, there'd always be like one guy, you go like this, I'm just happy to have a girlfriend, right? You know, and if there were 4 of them, one of them would have been pussy enough to stay, right? So
yeah, probably.
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't have been that one, because this the image about it. So she had a good shtick going, or the whole story was good, but I just couldn't believe it, because I dated 3 girls at one time, right? Two of them were married, right?
Okay.
So they weren't. And, hey, okay, don't be quick to judge, listeners. Okay, it's just, you know, I was single at that time, and they would have. It wasn't the first time, and you know, I did not break up their marriage. They were going to do this anyway, right? And I was dating one. I was out seeing one, and while she was making a phone call outside or something, this other one came in, and I met the girl who wasn't seeing somebody else. And so I had 3 going at the same time. And and 2 of them were married, so they didn't pop over my place. I told them that was, you know, listen, I can't pop over your place. You can't pop over my place. Right?
Yeah, I think so. That would be the rule.
That's the rule. You know, I'm not going to go and do that to you. You're not going to do it to me. And, you know, but I thought that was impossible. I thought it was impossible. 4 boyfriends, none of them married? You know? Are you kidding me?
Nah, listen, I don't think it's impossible at all. Why not? Why not create these bogus profiles? Well, you know, all she would need to do is meet guys that live in, you know, maybe not so much the same area of a town.
And it'd have to, she'd have to change her name slightly, like Katie, Katey, Kate, Kate, and Katie. I'm not saying her name was or Kathleen. You know what I mean? Or
Right.
Kat. You know, my name's Kat. I mean, that's the part because the way you look it up, the name, unless she used her middle name on one and her last name in the other, it's untenable. It's too much fucking work.
Oh, no. It would be a lot of work. Can you imagine juggling 4 different personalities, 4 different sets of memory banks that go with each of those guys, as well as probably a different set of friends that come along with those?
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely, obviously I'm 56, 57 now, so that would be almost impossible for me to do now. Almost impossible.
Oh, fuck. I mean, that's too much like work.
No, what I meant is I wouldn't remember. I would call each other the wrong names and shit like that. And I know guys did it. I mean, fucking remember those stories? You always hear every so often there's people that have 2 different families.
Oh, yeah.
There was a movie.
But those are usually
the movie for the the Amazing Mr. Pennypacker, I think it was.
Yeah, but aren't those normally in different cities?
Yeah, different cities, but they're maintaining families.
Yeah, which is bizarre, Jim. That's a whole different level there.
Families, holy shit! I mean, how many split personalities you need? I mean, you know how were you and Damon, me and Abby, and I mean, how would I? God, you know, these people talk about, you know, that this is my home wife and this is my work wife. You know?
Yeah.
Meaning not even that you're having a more relationship other than a friendship with somebody. Oh, come on. No, that's your friend. You know, fake. I mean, I get a headache thinking about it. But I love a good story. It would make obviously there's comedians that tell these stories about people. There's this guy, Tom Segura, who talks about his interactions with his doctor, who's really abusive, you know?
Okay.
This is really great bit. He showed up the first time, you know, second time his doctor came in, he goes, oh, look at him. He goes, oh, my God. He looks at his chart, and the first thing he says is, and it sounds, you know, when a comedian tells something, it's an embellished story. You know?
Right.
The reason I think I don't have as many stories is I try not to embellish as much, and I realize I should embellish more. You know? I had to write a radio play and admit it was embellished in order to make up that. So, I should, like Law and Order in the beginning of it, I should say, inspired by new event. But I digress. Tom Segura, the guy comes in, and the doctor says, oh, my God, you're the fattest patient I've seen all day. And the guy says, it's only 10 o'clock in the morning. He goes, well, like that. And then he goes, and then he goes, hey, your weight's 245. The last time you came in, it was 237. That's not exactly losing weight. You know, the doctor's saying, and he says he's being a dick the whole time. And I go like this, no way. No way. And he says all this other shit about his, to him. And finally he looks at his chart and he goes, you're married? And the guy, Tom Segura, says, yeah, I'm married. He goes, and he says, I thought you were gay. And he goes, well, how did you think I was gay? Why would you say that? And he goes, I wrote it on a chart. And he says, coming and says, 38 years old, probably gay. And he's looking at the chart. He wrote it down on the chart too. And he said all these other things, these muscle enzymes. And he says, so you want something for your hair loss? And he goes, no. What do you mean? You know, like that. And all this stuff. He says he's like he's seeing Don Rickles, who
right,
comedian that died. But I love these stories, and they're embellished. I mean, the people hear these stories, almost all of them. And I've seen it on Facebook. There's the the Oorang. There's a story of a ghost ship. You ever hear a story of a ghost ship? They found all these people in the 1940s. The crew found dead and all this stuff. And people swear it's a Ripley's Believe It or Not story.
Right.
And Ripley's Believe It or Not, you know what? Automatically go to the or not.
Yeah.
Because they're telling you. They're saying, believe it or not. Well, we're not saying these stories are true. You can believe it or not. Now, Guinness Book of Records, you got to believe it, because if they didn't do it, they don't verify it, then everything's false in Guinness, right? But it isn't. Ripley's Believe It or Not to say, Mary Flanagan of Dublin, Ireland gave birth to 84 children. Believe it or not. Not. Because it's impossible to give birth to 84 kids without being dead. Are you disagreeing with me, or I don't hear you?
No, but Ripley started when it started. That was it was like the National Enquirer of the day. It was obviously pure entertainment value, but
the sideshow. It was a bearded woman.
It was a sideshow. It was like almost like a circus act. Yeah. And, people enjoyed it. It was what it was. You can go to the Ripley's, they call them Ripley's museums. Mm-hmm. But you can go to a Ripley's, believe it or not. They have them several places in the States. And they're fun, but they're clearly contrived. And there's nothing
What's
but,
the one thing you see when you go to the one here in Key West?
Oh, I've never been to the one in Key West.
The one out, you walk by it, haven't you?
Probably, but have I missed something?
There's a barrel with a faucet over it. An unattached faucet. But with water running out, it's just the spigot.
Right.
And there's a stream of water coming out. But it looks like the spigot is freestanding, right?
Right.
And I guess it's for people that are high or 7-year-olds. Right?
What is the water tube translucent? Is that the whole thing?
Well, it's inside the stream of water, runs up the center. Right? If you follow the stream of it, wherever the stream of water is, that's where the pipe's coming up, and it's attached. Right. The spigot is attached to the tube of water that's inside of the stream. So if you turned off the water, you just see it's attached to the thing, But I mean, how many people look at it? I mean, it's got to be like if you're dating a girl for the first time, or a guy, right? And you question their intelligence, right? You should just walk them straight to the closest Ripley's, believe it or not. Do you think? What do you think of that? What do you think of that? And they go, well, that's amazing. I don't know how could that be? And you go, well, I'm going to give you an hour. We're going to stand here, or a half hour, and then at the end, I'll go and say, listen, I'm going to go and use the bathroom, and then leave. Just walk away. Just walk away, and leave them standing in front of the spigot, staring at the spigot. That's going to be the picture. I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to use for a picture, but I'm going to go the freestanding spigot. That'll be.
Please is like a real low level, really not well thought out for the most part magic show. You can go to certain magic shows. We've seen them, like the ones in Las Vegas and the ones they have on TV, where you really go, holy shit, how did you do that? But Ripley's is not on that level. Ripley's is like I'm saying, it's like a comic book. Kids like it. Like they liked Mad Magazine. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, but I mean, even I don't know. If you can make all your money on, because some of the things they show is for more adult stuff, right? right? They're not for 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds. Ripley's.
No, but consider when Ripley's started. Of course, it wasn't just for children.
Yeah.
There were people that were like, ooh, and eyeing and like, oh.
There we go.
Oh, it was.
There's a Ripley.
We're talking.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that Ripley's, even though it, what is it, like 100 years, more or less when it started, and I guess what we're saying is there's just as many stupid fucking people today that are amused by it as there were then.
Oh yeah. They're. Well, they listen to. They're Alex Jones. They listen to Alex Jones followers now.
Yeah, they probably buy his vitamins too.
Plandemic people. So right now, I think we covered it, man. We did 50 minutes. Good job, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. We'll be back next week. If you're still, are you going away anywhere next week?
No. There's no travel in the near future.
Okay. I will keep you up to date on what's going on with the catch. But I think when it starts up, we could probably still do 2. If it's all right with you, we could do two a week. What do you think?
Yeah. I think we can manage to do that.
Yeah, I'm going to try to keep up at 2 or 3 because we're right around the corner from it. This is episode 282. And
wow.
I think mid-June we're going to be at episode 300. I got to figure out something. Oh, and just so you know, I'm in contact. I'm going to be in contact with. I have been in contact with the people from the the Lovers Boutique.
How's that going?
Good. They want to do the show.
Oh, finally. Good.
Yep.
I
they
think
want
that'll
to do
be
the show.
fun.
I think we change it. Well, because if they go back a couple episodes, they don't hear anything outrageous anymore. Hopefully, they don't see that. But you know what? I think the reason why they didn't want to do it the first time is because they didn't think they could say cock ring. You know, this is a health thing and all that stuff. And I said, oh, you can say a lot worse than that. We can say everything you have in a store, what it's for, and you go in details on what it's used for. You can say all that stuff. So we're going to do that. It's probably going to be on a Sunday sometime. I'll make sure you know well ahead of time. Okay?
Yeah, let's definitely do it on the Lord's Day.
Well, if you're Jewish, Saturday's the Lord's Day, but so it doesn't really matter.
That's true.
Muslim, it's Friday.
Well, we'll do it on.
Okay. So
hey,
it really
man,
doesn't matter.
I'm all for Sunday. In fact,
Yep.
I don't think I'll do it on any other day but a Sunday.
Okay. Well, listen, I'm going to sign out. Thank you. Say goodbye, Joe.
Oh, bye, everybody.
Okay. Here we go. Hey, take care, everyone. Thanks for listening. I'm playing the music right now, Joe. Okay, Joe.
We
bringing
good?
it down. Hold on.